throughout the entire neighborhood and you won't hear noise. But when you come in front of my house, that's when you hear the noise of power equipment. Now we know that the gang stalking police of Stockton, California bought the house next to the, the city manager of Stockton, California, to make noise because they wanted to harass him. So this is what the gang stalkers do. Now, does gang stalking still exist with Cash Patel? Yes, it does. Is this administration civil libertarians? Well, is gang stalking continuing? Does our American Stasi continue? And can you say that if the American Stasi does continue, if their unremitting harassment continues, that we have a civil libertarian administration? Trump's doing wonderful things. He's stopping a lot of the outrages of the Biden administration. But one thing he's not doing is stopping our American Stasi that Dick Cheney started, that Bush started when they rewrote FBI guidelines when they had their Attorney General do it. And so we still have government gang stalking today. We still have Citizen Corps, the Reds, who are mobbing. We still have the noise next to government gang stalking targets' homes. We still have the unremitting harassment. So all of this still goes on. Now, of course, this is a violation of the Bill of Rights, but does anyone care? Does anyone in Congress care when the individual citizens suffer violations of civil liberties? Does anyone care that police, that firemen, that ambulance drivers, that Citizen Corps gang stalk, that they get your surrounding neighbors to mob you, to unremittingly harass you? Does anyone care? Well, government gang stalking continues. So you have to ask yourself, it continues? It continues? It continues? Just like the police who bought the house next to the city manager of Stockton, the gang stalking police, they actually, now think about that, they bought the house to harass. America has a Stasi, a gang stalking Stasi. She's had one for 2 decades. Does anybody in Washington care? Is there any civil libertarian in Washington that cares? Are all our politicians corrupt? They all have an agenda and they all execute their agenda. Biden had a woke agenda. Trump has an America First agenda. But does anyone care about our civil liberties? Does anyone care when we have police gang stalking, firemen gang stalking, when they get your neighbors to gang stalk? Does anybody care? Does anyone care when they harass you with noise? Wake you up in the morning with noise? Does anyone care when they harm you physically? Does anyone investigate? Yesterday when I opened my door, there was a red car across the street. Anchoring is based on the color red, so that was curious, wasn't it? What a coincidence that when I opened my front door, across the street there's a red car. And today, when I open my front door, there's noise, the signature of government gang stalking. It's what the gang stalkers use to harass, the biggest thing that they use to harass. What a coincidence. Do you have to say that America is totally corrupt? with a percentage of our population that gang stalks. If you go to my website, stopgangstalkingpolice2.com, you'll see the man from North Carolina who's being gang stalked. How long will this go on? Well, it's going on for 2 decades. So, and there's no sign that it's going to stop. There's no sign that the Trump administration is going to stop it. What they did during the Bush administration, they had suspicious activity reports. And what happened to me was I got a new neighbor when I lived in Newburgh, New York. And this new neighbor didn't like us. He didn't like my mentally retarded brother. He didn't like us at all. One of the gang stalking neighbors told me I didn't welcome them enough when they came into the neighborhood. This was after 9/11 when a lot of firemen were moving into my neighborhood. I wasn't welcoming enough. I didn't go over to their houses with a cake. Of course, I'm an introvert. Of course, I was taking care of a profoundly mentally handicapped person. At that time, I was working on a book. I was teaching full-time, but I didn't welcome them enough. They expected when they moved to a small town from New York City that the neighbors would be different, that I would be different. In their narcissistic needs, I was required to meet their narcissistic needs. So this is a program of narcissism. This is a program of entitlement. We are entitled to do this. Now, I'm not going to show you faces, though there are faces I could show you, because I never say an individual is gang stalking. I just expose the government gang stalking program. This is a program of mobbing. This is a program of mobbing that first responders do. This is a program of unremitting harassment. This is a program that tries to get you to move out of your house, and if you do, they'll just gang stalk you in the new neighborhood, because it's a national program. It happened to me when I was in New York. It happened when I came over to California, in Arizona, and in Texas, and in New Mexico. And I show you the video of the man on my website, stopgangstalkingpolice2.com, the man from North Carolina who was being gang stalked. So this is a national program started by the national government. Don't let them tell you the weaponization of government is over. It might be over for elites, but it's not over for ordinary people. Does anybody care that my civil liberties have been violated since 2006? They don't care. Nobody cares.